Hey everybody, it's Jen here coming from my living room. We're doing another fitness video for you today, and this one is another balance and stretch class. So we've done one already, you might have seen it a few weeks ago, and this one's going to be about the same format. We're going to do a standing warm-up, get our body all warmed up, and then we'll do some balance moves, and then we're going to move on to the floor and go into some really nice stretches. So a bunch of different stretches too. So all you need today is you need a nice clear space. You don't need a lot of room for this class. You might want to have some support beside you, a chair, or be near a couch or your kitchen if you have a countertop there if you want to grab onto, especially when we're doing our balance moves. And then when we do go onto the floor, you may want to have a mat out, and if you don't have a mat, you can always put a towel down too. And other than that, you just need to enjoy yourself and have fun, and I hope this works for you, and I hope it gets you moving. Okay, let's get some music. I'm going to turn it on here and we'll get warmed up. Okay, so let's start with our feet a little wider than hip distance apart. Let's do a big deep breath. Inhale all the way up, and then exhale all the way open. Do it again. Bend your knees a little, sweep those arms up to the sky, and open it all the way up. Let's do two more. Inhale all the way up, and exhale. One more time. Inhale, and exhale. Good, okay. Now let's go ahead and sit down and stand up in our hips. Sit down and stand up. So we're just pushing our hips behind us, softening the hips, knees, and ankle joints. And then what we're going to do is add a shoulder roll to this. So every time you sit down, roll your shoulders around and back. So roll them around and back. Just get them moving. And it doesn't have to be this big. You can keep it smaller if you like. As well, your legs, as you're bending into them, they can get deeper and bigger if you want. Watch that the knees are tracking over the feet. So don't let your knees drop in like this. You don't want to tip them inwards. Okay, let's do two more circles backwards, and then we'll change our direction right here. So come down and come forward now. Around those shoulders, coming forward. And feel free to start making these arms bigger, right? If you want, bring them around, sweep them around. Just get a little deeper into those joints. Bigger movements, warm us up even more. Let's do two more. Last one. Good, okay, stand up nice and tall. Now let's get into our torso a little. We're gonna reach across to one side and then reach around to the other side. So stretch those arms out nice and long. And we're rotating right up through the head as well. So turn around, reach around, and feel those shoulders, that spine moving. And I'm lifting my heel each time I rotate so that I'm not torquing up on my hips or any of my joints. I'm letting this flow back and forth. And this feels good. Let's do four more. 4, and 3, and 2, and 1. Good. Okay, come back to the center. Now open your legs even wider. Let's go ahead and sit down and stand up here now in a wider squat. So a bit of a sumo squat. Knees go out to the side. Feet are slightly pressed outwards. So toes are going outwards. Down and up. And it's up to you again how deep you go. You can start small, right? Every time you stand up, give those glutes a little squeeze back there. If you'd like, your hands can be on your hips, or you can take them out front just for a little balance, engaging the core, pulling the tummy muscles up and in. Now watch that you don't snap your knees into place every time you stand. You want to control the movement. You can add one more thing to this if you'd like, a heel lift. Every time you go down, lift one heel. So that's just going to get those ankles moving, those feet stretched out, those toes stretched out. See how it feels. If you don't like it, take it out of there. Down and up. Okay, so hopefully your heart is increasing a little bit. Your breathing's increasing a little bit. Let's try 4 more. 4, and 3, and 2. Last one. Good, okay, come up to the center. Now let's go ahead and take one foot in front of the other. Okay, so one leg is forward, one leg is back. Watch that the back foot doesn't get turned out. You want to almost pigeon toe your foot in. We're going to lift up on the back heel and then the front toes. So we're just going to rock back and forth, back heel, front toes. So here with our upper body, you want to keep a nice long spine. And we're going to rock back and forth, and we're going to add some arms. Reach them up, pull it back, reach, and pull it back. Lift tall, pull it back. Okay, let's do 2 more with these legs here, and then we'll switch them up. 1 more. Good, okay, switch your legs. So other foot in front, other foot in back. Get your and the front toes. Back heel, so tummy is pulled up and in, long spine, and when you're ready, add those arms back in, lift, pull back. So those hips can even rock back a little if you like, push back into the hips, and then bring them back underneath those shoulders. Good, 2 more, big reach, last one, reach, and pull back, good. Okay, let's do one more thing, let's get into our spine actually, I'll stay this way. Support yourself here, I want you to come about halfway down, and then I want you to round out the spine, pull the shoulder blades apart, and then flatten the spine, pull the shoulder blades together. So you're gonna go back and forth here with the spine, supporting yourself on your legs, tuck your tailbone under, and then bring your tailbone back out. So under and open, squeeze together and open the front. 4 more, and open, 2 more, and open. Good, okay, come all the way back up. Let's roll our shoulders out a little, walk your legs out, whatever feels good. Now let's get into our balance move. So again, if you need some support, pull it over beside you, or go somewhere where you have some support. Now let's start with a lunge. So we're gonna take one leg, step it back, just like we did in our warm up there. We're gonna keep our back heel lifted. We're gonna come down a little into those legs, so bend down into them, tuck our tailbone under, and we're gonna balance here. Sometimes just doing this can be quite difficult. Hold on if you need to, right? Wobble a little. So tucking the tailbone under, lifting up and in, shoulders down and back. Staying here if this is enough for you, but if you want to add on to this, you can take the back leg, lift it to a knee, and then step it back again to that lunge, and then lift it to a knee. So we're doing this nice and slow. We're going to go even slower than this. We're just practicing right now. Pull the tummy in the whole time. Pull up and in with that pelvic floor, and down. Okay, so hold on if you need to onto something, or hands are on the hips to start. Lift, step it back. Good, let's do 2 more of these at this speed. Then we're gonna warm up the other side. 1 more, and lift, and step back. Good, okay, switch your legs around so the other foot goes forward, other one goes back. Back heel lifted, so press the ball of the foot and tuck the tailbone, sink down into your lunge. Watch that front knee too. You don't want to be ahead of the foot. You want to be just above the foot, or the ankle is the best place. Down, a little lower, and then when you're ready, add more into it, right? Lift the knee, and step it back and down. Do it again. Lift the knee. So sometimes helps when you're doing balance moves to find something out ahead of you that you can focus on, something that you can see out there that isn't moving. It might be helpful. Okay, now and it's very normal to be wobbly when you come up to do a couple of wobbles. Totally normal. So remember that proud chest, lifted tall. Let's do 2 more on this side. And lift. So squeezing the glute back here as well. When you lift is another trick. 1. Last one. Good, okay, switch legs back again. Right over to the other side. Doesn't matter which leg you're on, you just keep alternating. Now we're gonna add some arms and hold it longer this time. So you're down into your lunge, get low, comfortable, but make sure you can feel those legs working. Now let's add the knee. So let's come up with the arms and the leg and hold. Now come on back. Step it back. Get down low. Find your balance, find your focus. Make sure that foot didn't get tucked behind the other one. Whoop, wobble. Okay, let's go lift up. Hold. Stay here for 2 and 1. Good, come on back. Step it back. Hold here. Breathe. Let's lift again. And lift up and hold for 2 and 1. Good, come on back. We're gonna do 1 more at that pace. Then we'll do the other side. Here we go, lift it up. Lift up and hold for 2 and 1. Good, okay, release it all the way down. Switch legs, let's do 4 of those slower ones on the other side to match it up. Tuck it under, sink it down, lift tall, pull up and in. Arms are down to add them in. Let's go for it. Take the back leg, let's go. Lift it up, up and hold for 2 and 1. Take it back and wait for it. Sink down into it. Here we go, lift again. Come on up. The knee doesn't have to go 2 and 1. Doesn't have to go as high as I have it there either. You take it where you need it. 2 left, let's go. Lift it up and hold. 2 and 1, good. Release it down. Breathe into it. We have 1 more here. Let's lift it right here. Lift it up and hold for 2 and 1. Good. Release it down. Shake it up. Shake it up. Excellent, okay. So remember, you can always pause these videos anytime, do more of them, take it back, do some over. You can make this a longer workout if you want to. Okay, so now what we're gonna do is we're gonna go back into our lunge. Actually, no, let's do that one next. After this, I have another one we're gonna do here. We're gonna take our arms actually face you. So we're gonna take our arms, bend them out to the side. We're gonna take one foot and point it out front. So it's a long leg out front, pointing the toes out front, straight leg. And we're gonna lift tall here and maybe lift the foot up. So maybe the toes are touching or maybe they're lifted there. The leg you're standing on, you may feel it a little wobbly. The ankle, the knee, the hip joint, keep the tailbone tucked. Keep the hips level. Watch that when you lift this leg that your hip doesn't pop up with it, okay? And if you need more support, take those hands down. This is just extra up here. Now if you want to add even more to this, we're going to take the opposite elbow to the foot that we have out. But all we're going to do is lift a little and rotate, and then come back to the center. And that's not easy. Lift a little and rotate, and come back. We're trying 4 on this side, so let's try 2 more. And down, 1 more, and lift, and down. Good, okay, release it down. Good, shake it up, let's switch sides, right? Point the foot, toes, take those arms up, bend the elbows, engage the core, straight leg, hold it there. If that's enough for you, stay right there. If you want a little more, you're gonna add the lift and rotate. And then down, slow. 3 more, rotate, and down. So take your time. Go slower than this if you need to. Take a break anytime. 1 more. Up and down. There we go. Woo-hoo. Here we go. So you might have felt that in your hips, right up in the hips, and then on your quad muscles too. Here, let's try 1 more set on each side, okay? We'll go right into it. You know what to do. Point and bring. Lift if you want. A set of 4 on this side. Let's rotate. Opposite elbow right here. Comes across and down. Do it again. Across and down. Keep that breath moving in the body, slow and controlled. And we have 1 more right here. Across. Okay, bring it down. Excellent. Shake it out, shake it out. Okay, let's do the other side. Whew. Give your arms a longer break if they need them, because you're gonna feel this in the shoulders too. Shoulders don't squeeze up beside the neck. Press them down. Point that foot. Let's do our 4 over here, right here. So across. And bring it down. And across. And bring it down. You can probably see my little wiggle wobbles that are happening. Remember, that's very normal. 1 more. Across. And down. There you go. Okay, shake it up, shake it up. Okay, now, what else are we gonna do? Oh, I know what we're gonna do. We're gonna do a warrior 3. This one is not easy either. Okay, so lots of levels, lots of choices. I'm gonna show you from the side. So you're gonna stand on one leg, just bring one leg up beside you. Doesn't matter where the leg is hanging out. The leg you're standing on stays fairly straight. Foot is pressed into the floor. Remember to use all 4 corners of your foot, gently press down. But I want you to press those toes out and not use them to squeeze up against the floor. You wanna use the toes to help you balance, but press them out, lengthen them out. Okay, hands on the hips to start. Hips stay level. We're gonna tip forward from the hips and extend the leg out behind us, nice and long. So we might not get this far, right? We might have a counter in front of us or beside us a chair, right? We might not extend that far. So we're gonna go back again when you're ready. Take your time, shift your body weight forward with that upper body. Stay long through the spine. Keep the hips level. Watch that the hip didn't pop up and open up here with that extension on the leg. Try and keep your hips level. Extend that leg as far back as you're comfortable. Long through the spine. It doesn't need to come any higher than the body. Come on back up. So we held that one a little bit longer that time. Let's do 1 more on this side. So tip it back. You can still have your hands on your hips, or you can have them down if you want to add that. Makes it a little harder. Check in. Looking straight down or straight just ahead of you to keep that long neutral spine. And then slowly release. Bring it back up. Good. Okay, shake it up. Let's do the other side. Okay, I'll flip around. All right, so get your balance again. Lift up nice and tall. Soft knee. Begin to tip from the hips, so the leg you're standing on has a little softness to it as well. Lengthen. You can start here with the hands on the hip and just take it back. Hold just for a moment, see how it goes. Check in with a few different spots. Slowly come back. So we didn't hold it as long. We've got 2 more on this side. We'll hold them a little longer this time. Let's go. Tip it back. Watch the head too. Don't be cranking the neck and the head up, looking way forward. We don't want to take our spine out of alignment. Check in, long, long, point the toes out there. If you want, that leg is the same height as the body. It's hard if you don't have a mirror, I know. Breathe, good, slowly come back. Touch down anytime, right? You can take a little break anytime you need. Put that foot down. Let's try one more. Go ahead if you want, let those arms hang, but keep that long spine, extend it back. Breathe. Oh. Keep going, you guys, you can do it. Feel that leg you're standing on working hard. Keep breathing. 4, 3, 2, and 1. Good, bring it all the way up. Okay, good work. Shake it up, shake it up, shake it up. Okay, let's try one more set on each side, but we're only gonna do 2 extensions. We're gonna hold them a little bit longer and add a different arm to them. And then we'll be done with our balance work, okay? We'll get down onto the floor. So go back to that first side you were on. Lift the leg. Now what I'm gonna do to add on is I'm gonna take the opposite arm and reach it up as I tip forward, okay? So you can join me if you want. You can keep the hands here, wherever you're comfortable. So I'm gonna begin to soften, tip forward, and the opposite arm is gonna reach. This other hand can hang down if you want, or you can have it back at the hip, wherever you're comfortable. Hold and breathe. So that leg you're standing on, it's working hard. The core is pulled in, the long spine. You're breathing for 4, 3, 2, and 1. Good, release it. Let's actually just do 1 on each side. Let's go right over to the other side because we held that one for a pretty good time. Okay, lift it up. Opposite arm is gonna extend out if you want that extra piece. Adding it in, begin to soften and tip. Extend, slow. If you want, that arm is reaching up. The other one can go down. Hold, breathe. Press into the floor with the corners of the foot. Concentrate. It takes a lot of focus to balance. For 4, 3, 2, and 1. Good. Release it all the way down. Come on up. Okay, here we go. Excellent, everybody. Come on down to the floor. Okay, let's come on down to our, all the way down actually to the bottom with our belly down on the floor. I'm just gonna move my mat back a little bit. So we're gonna bring our body all the way down. We're just gonna work on some postural muscles next. So I want you to take your arms out to the side with your elbows bent, palms are down. Okay, then nice long through the legs, flat feet, press the tops of the feet gently into the floor. And then be careful with that neck. You want it to be neutral. So you want your head facing down as much as you can. We're gonna pull back on the shoulders and lift up slightly through the chest. You don't wanna be right down here against your mat, right? You wanna be a little lifted. The glutes are gonna squeeze to help stabilize you, and I want you to press slightly forward or down into your mat with your pubic bone and your hip bones. Okay, so here, our upper body, I want you to squeeze the shoulder blades together and then come back down again. So we're lifting both arms together, elbows come up, those bent elbows stay bent as we lift up, and we squeeze those shoulder blades with a little hold at the top. So squeeze, hold, and down. Do it again, squeeze, hold. Now when we're holding a pose like this, we wanna make sure we don't hold our breath, okay? So we wanna breathe, inhale, and exhale. Let's do 4 more of these, okay? Feel the back muscles working, all those postural muscles, right down into the lower back, into the glutes. Lift, hold, and down. We have 2 more. Lift, hold, and down. Last one. Lift, hold, and down. There we go, good. Okay, let it go. Now take your arms long beside you with your palms facing up. Okay, and just that upper body is gonna, again, stay neutral. We don't wanna be down on the mat, but we wanna be slightly lifted. Shoulders are down and back. And we're gonna work on our legs. We're gonna lift one leg and lower it down. Lift the other leg, lower it down. So we're pointing through the toes, trying to keep a very straight leg. Now if this bothers your lower back at all, if you're feeling any impingement in the lower back, don't do it. You can also stay on the floor and just do a flex in those muscles, the hamstring and the glute. Give them a little squeeze without extending through the leg if you want. 4 more each side. And 4. Keep breathing. 3. And 3. And 2. And 2. 1 more. 1. And 1. There we go. Very good. Okay, let's push ourselves back. So lift up however you'd like. Push yourself back and into a child's pose. Well, let's go wide with our knees. Bring your big toes together and push back into a child's pose. So we're just getting a little further, maybe with our knees wider. Maybe the body can come down a little deeper. And I want you to try and relax through the shoulders too when you come down. You can let the elbows come down, the head come down. At the same time, pushing back with that tailbone into the heels. Keep that breath moving. Okay, we're going into all our stretches now, you guys. So keep that breath moving in and out. Enjoy this nice stretch. Okay, very good. Let's come on up out of this. So walk yourself up into a tabletop position. So you want to have your shoulders pretty much over top of your wrists and your knees right underneath your hips. Your knees are about hip distance apart and your hands about shoulder distance apart. Now what I want you to do is push back and rock over to one side with your hips and then push back and rock over to the other side. So you're just going to go back and forth with your hips here, rocking, and you just get to go as far as you're comfortable, right? But you do want to encourage this stretch, especially as you come back and across. If you find any areas that are tight or need a little more of a stretch, feel free to pause on them and just rock back and forth. And go at your own speed as usual. Push back and across, push back and across. Okay, let's keep going, but let's do 4 more of these. More. And last one. Good. Okay, come on back up to your tabletop. Now what we're going to do is rock forward and back with our hips now. So again, we start in that nice tabletop position with a neutral spine. So a nice flat back, tailbone tucked under just slightly. But now we're going to come forward with our hips and back with our hips. Okay? So you get to go again as far as you're comfortable. Here, you may want to walk your hands a little more forward so that you're able to come more forward and feel supported. At the end, you want to have the shoulders over top of the wrists. You want to try not to go ahead of your wrists with your shoulders, okay? So forward and back here, as far as you're comfortable. Feeling that spine, get a nice stretch, those glutes, back and forth, and feeling the hip flexors as well in the front of the hips. So we're going to add on to this. If you don't want to add on, you don't have to. You just stay here, back and forth is great. But what we're going to do is I'm going to add in a down dog, where we're going to push up. So we're going to go forward here next, tuck our toes, and we're going to push up next. So come up into a nice down dog, but very gently. And then we're going to come down, forward where we were, and go back and forth again. Okay, and then we're going to go back and forth one more time, and we'll add the lift this time. Okay, tuck the toes, push up into a down dog, come back, so very softly here with the knees being soft, and then come down and forward. Now let's put those two together, and now we go right up again. So we're going up every time after we come forward. Okay, so down and forward, and back, forward and lift next. Tuck the toes, push up. Do it again, down, forward, and back, and forward and lift. It should feel really good through the shoulders, and it's also a little bit of work. This is our last set, okay? Forward and lift here, push it up. Good, okay, if you want, you can hold it here a few moments. You can do a little pedaling. You don't need to have the legs straight at all. We're gently lifting through the hips, pulling up through the core, stretching through the shoulders and spine. Your head can come between your arms and do a little pedaling, or you can be on the knees and just go back into a child's pose anytime. Okay, let's try 4 more pedals. And there you go. Okay, come on back down to your hands and knees. Okay, we're going to come up now onto our knees, but we're going to take 1 foot forward and go into a lunge next. So I'd like you to take 1 foot forward, but off to the side, okay? So it's not straight forward in front of your hip, it's off to the side. Then we're going to gently come down into this stretch, trying to keep our knee pretty much over top of that front ankle. So I've pushed forward into this, and now I'm going to gently come down with my hands in the inside of that foot. Okay, so here, if this isn't comfortable, if that's too far for you to go, you can stay up here. You can always be here with one hand in one hand, or or you can be back here anytime you need a little break, okay? So we're trying to get into underneath here, and we're trying to get into the front side of that back leg. Deeper if you want by coming down. Even deeper if you want, you can come down to the elbows. But this might change things here. If you come down to the elbow and all of a sudden that knee has to tilt in, then just come up out of it. Maybe you come down just a little bit into it, but you're gonna feel the stretch get nice and deep here in the leg, in the hips. You go where you're comfortable. Make sure you breathe into it wherever you are. Stay where you're comfortable, but remember to encourage your stretches always. Okay, let's gently come up out of that. Push ourselves back, and then bring that foot back. You can use the floor if you need to. You can do this with your hands on the floor too. When you're ready, let's do the other side. So the other foot comes out, off to the side. Walk that foot out a little ways, and then slowly come down into that. So you're angled off to the side with the foot, knees over top of the foot, and then when you're ready, if you want, adding in a little depth by coming down a little further here with the hands. Remember, you can always come back up if you need. Feeling that stretch here, underneath here, or feel free to come down a little further if you feel like you can. Keep that knee safe. I don't feel like I can come down that far on that side. Sometimes things change, right? When we don't do them as often as we used to, and I don't feel like I have quite the depth on that side, so I need to work on some more stretches. So stay where you're comfortable, but remember to encourage. Keep that breath going. Okay, very good. Let's come up out of that. Push ourselves back up. Bring that leg back in. Good. Okay, give your hips a little shake out if you want side to side, if that feels good. Okay, let's come back to our hands and knees. We're gonna move on to our spine for a moment. So we're gonna take ourselves down and reach, and we're starting at our tabletop. And your spine is gonna change here, so you don't have to make it perfect right now. Just shoulders over the wrists, knees over to or underneath the hips. Okay, now let's take one arm. Actually, I'll start on this side so you can see. One arm and thread it under. Come under, and slide it along the floor. Bring the shoulder down towards the mat, okay? So the shoulder can come down, the head now comes down with the ear towards the mat. So you've got your head rotated. This hand can lengthen out here. Now this other hand here is supporting you, but maybe it's doing a little bit more. Maybe you're actually using it to help rotate even more through the spine. It might be enough just to stay right here, but if you want more, go ahead, rotate more. Or there's one more thing you can do is take that hand away and actually encourage it even more by rotating it behind you. So you go where you're comfortable, you go with what level works best for you, and you keep that breath going in and out of the body. Those hips stay over top of the knees. Good, okay. Slowly release. Coming out of that, wherever you were, bring yourself gently back up to your tabletop again. Reset those hands. Give yourself a few moments if you need, especially with the head down below the heart like that. Sometimes you need a few moments. Just be careful with that, with your blood pressure. If you're ready, go ahead and slide, thread the needle. Come under with that other arm. Coming down, down, down. The head comes down, the ear towards the mat. And then this other hand, use it to help rotate even more, or bring it up and around, tucking it towards that hip on the other side. Keep that breath moving. Good, okay, slowly release, bring that hand back down, lift yourself back up into your tabletop. Let's push back into one more child's pose. So wherever your knees are comfortable, reach the arms long if you'd like, the head comes down, or you can always come here with the arms beside, or you can flip them under and relax them here. Again, wherever you are most comfortable, wherever you feel the best stretch. Breath moving in and out. Now we're going to come to the floor in a seated position next, with our feet out in front of us. we're gonna go back to working on our hips. So I'm gonna come down and have a seat and take my feet out in front of me, and they're gonna go about hip distance apart. So I'm gonna lean back and support my upper body, and I'm gonna go ahead and take my knees to one side and then up to the center and over to the other side. So this is going to encourage some movement in the lower back as well. The hips are coming with me, okay? So you can do that, encourage that if you want, to make this bigger or smaller if you want, but try if you can just to get some hip movement and the big leg bone here moving in that hip socket. So back and forth, and it's up to you how far you want to lean back, sit up a little taller if you want, and go back and forth. And the speed is always up to you as well, right? Back and forth. Back and forth. Okay, let's try 4 more of these. Now, actually, before I count that down, I want to give you a couple more options. You can add a reach to this too. Okay, you can add a bit more movement to this by adding a reach to this and get some more rotation through the spine. Okay, or you can do it without arms. Feel free to do that, and then just use your core, sitting up, coming back to the sit bones, and then sitting up. Oh, I just cracked my hip. For those of you who got to my class know that I'm a very cracky person, and often I will do that, but sometimes that feels good. You don't have to go to the chiropractor quite as much, right? Okay, back and forth. Let's try 4 more now, whichever ones you're comfortable with. 4 and 3 and 2. 1 more and 1. Now we're gonna hold it on one side. So choose which side. I'm gonna face you for the first one, okay? And I'm gonna take my legs and leave them where they were. Now this one hip might be a little lifted in the air. That's okay. I'm gonna encourage it down, or I'm gonna shift my legs a little to see if that can come down a little further, working on my hips right here. But I'm also gonna find my front leg. So I have one that's off to the side and I have one that's in front of me. And I'm gonna begin to fold over that. So the hip is going to lift anyways. So I'm gonna begin to fold. I'm working on stretching this front leg here now. I might be too far forward here. I'll scoot back a little so you can see. Fold forward, reach long. If you want, bring that head down, those arms out. Folding the body. So here you're feeling the knees getting quite a deep stretch too, so if you need to adapt that, but you're feeling it there in your hip as you tip forward and lengthen out. Keep that breath moving in and out. Okay, very carefully and gently bring yourself back up to the top. Okay, and then I'm going to just switch my legs here by bringing them up, and I'll stay facing forward so you can still see. I'm bringing the other leg forward in that 90-90 sort of bend in both of my knees, but again, adjust it if you need to. I'm going to turn towards that front leg, find the front leg, and begin to fold over it. And just take yourself down there very gently. Maybe you just come to the elbows, right? Maybe you just come forward a little bit, and you ease yourself down eventually if you'd like, or stay wherever you need to be. So you're feeling this stretch, like I said, deep into the hip. You're also feeling it across the glute muscle on our back side. All the way down into the spine as well. Through the shoulders if you have those arms reaching out. One more thing you can add to this as well, if you want, you can extend the back leg and you can roll so that both hips are facing down. And then you're pretty much in a pigeon pose here, a yoga pigeon pose. But that's up to you. If you know that pose, feel free. Otherwise, you can stay bent and not go as deep, wherever you're happy. Okay, very good, everyone. Slowly release. Bring yourselves back up to the center. Oh, bring yourself around so that you're just crisscrossed if you want, with the legs out in front, however you're comfortable. Okay, then we're gonna do some big side stretches here. Up and over with one arm and bring it back. We're just about done. Up and over, bring it on back. Do that a few more times. So lift up first and then over. Bring it back and lift up and over. One more on each side. We'll finish it off. And last one. Good, bring it on back. Okay, if you want just some shoulder rolls. Ah, there you go, other direction. Okay, very good everybody. I hope you had a wonderful class. I sure did. I miss you guys and I hope these videos are helping you. Take care everybody.